If the system can keep people without a major purpose, it has them for life. That's why you see people sit at cubicles for 50 years. Somewhere inside, they must have died to be stuck in that routine for that long. But me, I refuse. And so should you. Refuse this repeated cycle of a living hell or purgatory. Without a major purpose, someone else will control you. Your every move, your every thought, your time, your energy, your entire being becomes currency for a system that does not care about your soul. The most dangerous form of control is not physical chains, it's spiritual sedation. It's the kind that makes you trade your highest potential for a paycheck and a false sense of security. What's worse? The comfort, the ease of being surrounded by people who mirror your complacency. Futile conversations about TV shows, office gossip, or weekend plans become your normal. And in that normal, you tell yourself, they're just like me, we're all in this rat race together. And that comfort becomes your prison. You don't realize the trap because it's dressed up in smiles, HR meetings, and birthday cupcakes in the break room. But it's still a trap. A golden cage is still a cage. Only those with a major purpose break free from these chains. Purpose isn't just a word, it's fuel. It's the fire behind your eyes when you wake up in the morning. It's the thing that won't let you sleep because your dream is too loud. Purpose makes you uncomfortable with mediocrity. It whispers, then shouts, "This is not your final form." Most people never hear that voice, or if they do, they silence it. They drown it in routine, in fast food, in weekend distractions, because listening to it would mean changing. And change, real change, is scary. But not for us. Not for the ones who feel that fire and choose to feed it. We don't run from change. We chase it. We chase growth. We chase meaning. We chase freedom. To have purpose is to live deliberately. It means you no longer move on autopilot. You become conscious of how you spend your time, who you give your energy to, what you allow into your mind. You become ruthless with your boundaries and soft with your vision. Because your purpose is sacred. And when you walk in purpose, you make people uncomfortable. They won't say it outright, but they'll sense the shift. The way you no longer entertain their small talk. The way your eyes look past the surface. The way you start saying no to things that once defined you. But that's part of the path. Purpose is a filter. It removes what no longer fits. It prunes. It refines. It isolates. And in that isolation, you find yourself. We live in a world that rewards comfort and punishes authenticity. But you weren't born to be comfortable. You were born to be real, to be raw, to be legendary. This is your call to rise, to walk away from anything that numbs your spirit, to trade survival for significance, to stop being a background character in your own story. Because the system's greatest fear, a human being who is fully awake, fully aligned, fully alive. You can feel the tension, can't you? That tug in your chest every time you go through the motions. That ache in your soul when your alarm goes off, not because you're tired, but because you're uninspired. That's your spirit begging you to break the cycle. There's nothing wrong with work, but there is something wrong with work that costs you your soul. Something wrong with routines that rob you of time, of dreams, of divine creativity. Something wrong with smiling at your own misery just to fit in. People say, be realistic. But what they really mean is, be average like me. They want you to shrink, to settle, to forget. But you were never meant to blend in. You were born to break through. You weren't made for comfort zones, you were made for courage zones. You were made to shake the very ground beneath you when you step into your truth. That 9 to 5? That's just a placeholder if it doesn't align with your higher calling. But don't just quit. Don't just walk away with no strategy. That's not power. That's panic. Purpose isn't chaos. It's calculated. It's surgical. You build while you burn the old life behind you. You wake up earlier. You read what others ignore. You write, build, create, plan while the world scrolls and sleeps. You choose your friends like you choose your food, with intention. Because you know who you're becoming. Your purpose is the compass. Your habits are the hammer. Your discipline is the bridge. There will be resistance. People will mock your urgency. They'll question your quiet. They'll try to anchor you to their mediocrity. Let them. Because what you're building isn't loud yet, but it's lasting. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be legendary. Every time you show up for yourself, when no one claps, no one sees it, the universe does. That effort compounds. That energy multiplies. And at some point, you won't just step into your season, you'll own it. Your presence will shift rooms. Not because you tried to be powerful, but because you became powerful in private. That's the real glow up. Not aesthetic, but alignment. So keep building. Keep rising. The system wants your obedience, but your soul wants your obedience to the Most High, obedience to your calling, obedience to your truth. And when you fully lock in, you won't need motivation. You'll move from revelation. You'll wake up with fire in your lungs, with conviction in your bones. You won't need alarm clocks when your purpose is loud enough. This isn't about rebellion. It's about realignment. Realigning with who you were always meant to be before society told you to shrink. Before you traded curiosity for compliance, before you let fear set your schedule, before you made peace with a paycheck that didn't match your power. You're here to rewire your life from the inside out. So, make the decision. Cut the noise. Get clear. Get focused. Get dangerous to anything that tries to dim your light. Because once you taste purpose, you can't untaste it. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. And once you rise, you can't go back to crawling. You were never meant to play small. You were built for the throne. Now claim it. And remember this, when you walk in your purpose, you don't chase opportunities. You attract them. You don't beg for tables. You build your own. You don't ask for permission. You move with vision. And that vision, it becomes your vibration. You'll notice your standards change. Your circle shifts. What once entertained you will now bore you. What once satisfied you will now feel shallow. Because the deeper your purpose gets, the less tolerance you have for anything that lacks depth. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. Let them misunderstand you, let them talk. You're not here to be understood, you're here to be undeniable. You don't have to prove your worth, just keep walking in it. You don't have to explain your vision, just keep building it. And while they wonder how, you'll be focused on now, because your now creates your next. The ones who change the world aren't always loud. Sometimes they're quiet, focused, intentional, moving in silence while the noise consumes the masses. You weren't built for mass mentality. You were built for divine individuality, for sacred impact, for legacy. This life, it's not about how many followers you have. It's about how many lives you touch, how many souls you ignite, how many cycles you break. You're not just healing yourself, you're healing bloodlines, you're shifting generations, you're awakening destiny. And that's why the pressure feels so heavy. That's why the attacks come so strong. Because you're not average. You're anointed. So when the nights get dark, when your spirit gets weary, when the silence feels suffocating, remember your why, remember your vision, remember your assignment, because purpose will carry you when passion fades. Discipline will anchor you when storms come. And faith will lift you when logic fails. You were born for more, not by chance, but by divine design. So rise, chosen one. Rise with your full chest. Rise with your full voice. Rise with your full truth. And when they ask how you did it, tell them the truth. I remembered who I was. I refused to settle. I chose purpose over popularity. And I walked like I was already free. Because I was. You ever wonder why some people can work a job they hate for 40 years and never ask why? It's not because they're weak. It's because the system designed it that way. designed to sedate your soul just enough that you forget you had one. They give you just enough distraction, just enough comfort, just enough weekend freedom that you never rebel. But deep down, you've always known. You felt that ache in your chest on a Sunday night, that tightness in your gut when you wake up to an alarm that pulls you away from purpose, that cold silence when you realize no one is coming to save you. And that's the moment everything changes. That's the awakening, not the glamorous one you see in movies, no angel choirs or fireworks, just you, sitting in your car after work, staring at the wheel, and realizing you were born for more. That's how purpose speaks, quiet but powerful, gentle but persistent. It doesn't yell, it whispers. But if you're still enough, brave enough, broken enough, you'll hear it. You were born with a divine fingerprint. There's not another soul on earth with your exact assignment. That's not motivational fluff. That's mathematical fact. 1 in 8 billion. No duplicates, no backups. So when you try to blend in, when you try to follow the crowd, when you silence your gift to make others comfortable, you rob the world of your light. And what happens when you hide your light? You attract darkness, depression, frustration, bitterness. Not because something's wrong with you, but because something's right with you that you keep suppressing. And every day you stay misaligned, your spirit rebels. That rebellion shows up in burnout, confusion, emotional exhaustion. Because your soul knows when you're living small. It knows when you're betraying your calling for convenience. Purpose is a demand, not a suggestion, not a hobby. It demands your full self. It demands that you leave the crowd, that you abandon the applause, that you stop asking for permission and start moving with conviction. And yeah, it's lonely sometimes, because purpose strips away the people who only loved your silence. It breaks relationships that were built on your lack of boundaries. It isolates you from anything fake, shallow, or surface level. But isolation isn't punishment. It's preparation. It's where the real ones are forged. In the dark, in the quiet, in the unseen. When nobody claps, when nobody posts, when nobody checks in. That's where purpose is built, in the gym of the unseen, in the lab of late nights, in the temple of solitude. See, they lied to you. They told you success was in likes, in followers, in degrees, in job titles. But real success is alignment. It's being able to look yourself in the mirror with no makeup, no filter, no mask, and say, I'm proud of who I'm becoming. It's waking up with clarity and going to bed with peace. It's having conversations with God that no one else hears, but they see the glow in your walk. That's purpose. That's alignment. But let's talk real. The system doesn't like people who walk in truth, because truth isn't profitable. Confused people consume more. Tired people work harder for less. Numb people never rebel. So the system feeds you sugar for the soul. Endless scrolling, meaningless content, news that divides, work that depletes, food that kills slowly, relationships that drain and distract. And if you're not intentional, you'll swallow it all. But you're not here to be fed lies. You're here to feast on truth. You're here to rise, to rebuild, to reclaim. The greatest war isn't external, it's internal. It's the war between who you are and who they told you to be. The version of you that's bold versus the version of you that plays small to be liked. The version of you that creates versus the version that consumes until numb. The version of you that leads versus the version that waits for permission. You are in that war right now. Every decision you make is casting a vote for your future or your fears. So what will it be? Another day of surviving? Or your first day of living deliberately? Let me make this plain. You don't need another motivational quote. You need to get up earlier. You don't need another course or coach. You need to cut distractions. You don't need more followers. You need more focus. You don't need their approval. You need your own permission. because everything you're looking for is already in you. The vision, the voice, the velocity. It's already there, buried beneath the noise, waiting for your commitment, not your interest, your commitment. You were not sent here to repeat cycles. You were sent to break them, to rewrite stories, to unlearn limitations, to rebuild from ruins. And that means you'll have to fight. Not with fists, but with focus. Not with rage, but with revelation. Not with fear, but with fire. That fire is purpose. And once it's lit, it never goes out.